What do you do when the path ahead is blocked and danger is closing in behind you? Picture it. A raging sea before you, a hostile army behind you, no weapons, no escape. This is where fear rises and faith is tested. This is the story of Moses and the Red Sea. The Israelites packed quickly, hands shaking, hearts racing. For generations, they had been slaves in Egypt. Now, they were finally leaving. They stepped out in full view of the Egyptians, carrying their children, their belongings, their hope. Freedom was ahead, but behind them, Egypt was watching. And back in the palace, Pharaoh exploded with anger. Why did we let them go? He summoned his army, chariots, horses, soldiers, the most powerful force on earth at that time. And they began to chase them. Pharaoh and his army would not let go, no matter the cost. They were determined to hunt the Israelites down. The Israelites marched into the desert until suddenly they stopped. The Red Sea, wide, deep, uncrossable. They turned around. Dust filled the horizon. Pharaoh's army was coming. Now they had two choices, panic or trust. And fear won first. They cried out to Moses, "Were there no graves in Egypt? Why did you bring us here to die?" This is where most people would give up. And honestly, if you were there, you would have felt the fear too. But God intervened. By day, a pillar of cloud moved behind the Israelites, and by night, a pillar of fire stood between them and the Egyptians. Light for God's people, darkness for their enemies, divine protection, and separation from fear. And though his faith was tested, Moses turned to God in prayer, not panic, but prayer. God had not abandoned them. He reassured them. "Move forward," he said to them. Moses stood before the people and said, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The Egyptians you see today, you will see them no more." Hopes are not just words. They were a decision. Now imagine standing there, the sea in front of you, the enemy behind you, the wind rising, and then Moses lifts his staff. The sea begins to move. Water pulls back. The ground dries. Walls of water rise on both sides. God did not remove the sea. He made a way through it. And the people had a choice again: stand and stare, or walk forward in faith. They walked. So the Israelites stepped onto dry ground. Children clutched their parents. Fear slowly turned into awe. Some wondered, is this real, or are we dreaming? They walked through the sea, not running, but trusting. What they dreaded became the platform for their miracle. Behind them, Pharaoh saw it, and pride pushed him forward. The army charged in. As soon as the Israelites reached the other side, another threat appeared. The Egyptians, the very army they thought they had escaped, were charging into the sea on dry ground. Fear rippled through the people. "They are coming after us!" And once again, they cried out to God. But inside the sea, everything changed. Chariot wheels began to shake, then break. Horses panicked. Soldiers shouted in terror, "This is the hand of the Lord." They tried to turn back, but it was too late. The Israelites stood safe on the far shore, and Moses lifted his staff once more. At God's command, the sea began to return. And then, the sea returned. The waters rushed back with power, wave upon wave. The strength of Egypt's army could not stand against it. Chariots vanished. Soldiers were overwhelmed. Pharaoh and his forces were swept away in the midst of the sea. In a single moment, the enemy that had oppressed God's people for generations was gone. Silence followed. The pursuit was over. That day, the Lord delivered his people, not by their strength, but by his mighty hand. Silence, and then joy. The people realized what God had done, a miracle they had never seen and would never forget. They lifted their voices in thanksgiving. Faith replaced fear, and from that day, they trusted the Lord and the leadership of Moses. Miriam, the prophetess, took a tambourine in her hand. The women followed her, dancing and singing praise to the Lord who saves. What once held them in fear now echoed with worship. Slavery had ended, freedom had begun. And Moses led the people onward, into the wilderness, and into a deeper walk of faith. Because this story is not just about a sea, it is about every moment you feel trapped. Every time the way forward seems impossible. And this is the truth. When there appears to be no way, God can still make one. If this story spoke to you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a comment below, and subscribe to Bright Legends Academy, because more powerful Bible stories are coming next.